Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Martin here from Rip Kodiak. Your favorite Chad from Poland is back. What's poppin', boys? Welcome back. So, gentlemen, on this sunny day, we're going to talk about why women avoid attractive men. And guys, you've heard that right. This is going to be a banger, I promise. I'm going to blow your mind with this one because nobody talks about this, And let's face it, we attractive men, we live in a very, very different reality compared to average men. And so women are going to act very different around us. They're not going to know how to keep their cool. They're going to be uncomfortable, which is something I'm going to talk about in this exact video. So, gentlemen, without a further ado, let's get right to it, okay? So, first of all, number one, guys, you have to know that when girls look at a really attractive guy, or a handsome man for that matter, they're going to assume that every single girl wants you. They're going to assume that everyone wants you, okay? So that's my first point. A lot of women have all kinds of preconceived notions and beliefs when it comes to attractive men, and we're usually, in society, bro, we're villainized. Attractive men are usually the jerks. They're usually the bad guys. They're, messing around. They're abusing these women. They're manipulating them. They're not, husband material. And that's usually how it's presented in all these sitcoms and movies, right? And so women usually carry that belief with them, And so when they're dealing with you, they're just not going to know how to act around you, because they think that every single girl wants you. They think that you're already taken, bro, and they're not going to shoot their shot. They're not even going to bother with your ass. And usually, other girls, her girlfriends, usually jump on the bandwagon. They're going to be like, he's not for you, bro. He's not for you, girl. You deserve better. He's a cheater. He's a liar. He's a prick. He's a douche. He's a player, right? And she's going to, especially if the girl really likes you, bro, the girls will usually sway her away from you. Okay, this is a real thing. Number two, this is a big one, gentlemen. This is going to hit home with a lot of you. Okay, this is a heavy hitter. So, attractive men rarely give approachable energy. They're usually very, very selective with their energy. And women are very, very smart with this. They calculate every single thing in their head. It's not because they don't like you, bro. And so, a lot of attractive men, they're usually kind of cool. They're not goofing around. They're usually very chill. And particularly if you're a confident, stoic man and you have your shit together, these girls are not going to know how to be around your presence. Because a lot of attractive men, they're usually intimidating. They're physically intimidating. They're composed. They're not really social. They kind of, they like privacy, bro. And when women deal with you, it's like you're a different breed of a man. They just don't know how to operate around you. And that's why a lot of women will avoid you for that matter. They just don't know how to behave around you, bro. Because they're not taught about it. Most of these guys today, especially on dating apps or on social media, women are so used to all these beta males, beta male simp barnacles who are constantly double texting women. They're, giving them all this free attention. And when they deal with you, it's like you're a different breed of a man. You reverse the whole thing. Her game is flipped upside down, bro. That's a real thing. And on top of it, you usually have all the girlfriends, with all the assumptions and all the judgment that comes with it. So they're not going to trust you. They're going to think that you're less of a man. And usually a lot of women, and this happens, guys, the same thing happens to beautiful women. Usually most men, the guys, let's be honest here. When y'all look at a really pretty girl, a 9 out of 10, okay? She's smoking hot. She's a baddie, okay? Every guy wants to sleep with her. But would you really think that she's a high quality wifey material? Not necessarily. Most men are not going to operate this way. They're going to think, I bet she has a whole bunch of, sugar daddies around her. She's always, she's taken. She's never going to look my way. She has all these guys. I'm not good enough for her. And I could go on and on, right? You're going to repeat all these stories in your mind. And conversely, bro, y'all don't think the same thing happens to women when they look at a really attractive guy. Of course. They're going to operate the same way. It's intuitive. It's like, it's subconscious. She doesn't even have to think about it. When she looks at you, she's going to be like, I have to work for this guy. He probably has a girl. He has a whole bunch of women around him. I'm not good enough, and that breaks her ego, bro. Okay? So she's not going to avoid you because she's not into you. I'm going to completely reject that premise, because I see a lot of dating coaches say, if a girl ignores you, if she rejects you, or if she avoids you, she's not into you. Bro, nah. Not true at all. She's most of the time, okay, it depends on what kind of man you are. If you're some average bum, okay, I will buy that theory then. But if you're a really attractive guy and she likes you, especially if you've talked to her in real life, and you've seen the cues, bro. You've seen her body language. She's clearly into you, but she's just not gonna know how to be composed around you. So that's a real thing, guys. A lot of attractive men are usually very selective with who they give their attention to. So girls, are just not gonna know how to behave around a man like that. So number 3, and this is a big one. I think all these points will overlap at some point. Number 3, women think that attractive men make worse partners. Bam. Guys, this is a heavy hitter. I just dropped, the speaker here. Mic drop. Guys, a lot of women think that attractive men are horrible long-term partners. They think that we're going to cheat on them. They think that we're not going to, care about their problems. They think that we're never going to be compatible with them. And usually, guys, all her girlfriends usually come up to them with all kinds of dating advice. They think that, he's not gonna love you. He's not gonna commit to you. He's a liar. He's a prick. He's full of himself. He's a douche. And I could go on and on and on. Women are gonna tell her these things. A girl that's into you, bro, and so she's gonna have second thoughts, bro. She's not gonna she's always gonna have doubt in her head. And this is a real thing. Again, why? Because we attractive men, we're stereotyped. We're villainized to an extent. Look at it, bro. Let's face it. All the attractive men that I know, bro, they're rarely sleeping around. They're usually the kindest, nicest guys I've met, bro. I know. And that's just how it is. But women are not going to think like that. They're going to think that you're a prick, that you're a liar. And they're going to be intimidated by you. Okay, and that's a real thing. So, a lot of these women are just not going to be open to the idea of dating you. And so, this is a real thing that nobody talks about. Y'all think that, looks will get you every single girl. Nah, bro, far from it. And usually, I find, and this is a real paradox in and of its own, guys. Usually, the really attractive guys, they rarely settle down with some really attractive baddie. That's rarely the case, Usually, all the attractive men I know, they've settled down with some 6 or maybe a 7 at best, bro. They're rarely with like a top level baddie. And conversely, bro, all these girls, bro, all these baddies, they're rarely with a really attractive guy. They're usually with some average looking dude who has a little bit of money, who's kind of confident, or maybe he has a lot of game. Maybe he's witty. Maybe he's socially intelligent. Bro, especially if you come to Poland. I live in Poland now. If you come to Eastern Europe, you're gonna see this a lot. This is gonna pop to you, bro. All the really, really attractive girls here, they're with some average-looking guys. And bro, this is like a national meme here. That all these Polish guys, they look like Shreks, and they're pulling all these Jennifers and all these really hot women. It's a real thing. Don't trust me, bro? Come here. Take a trip, okay? So a lot of them are going to think that we're not going to be good long-term partners. That we're not going to be suitable. That's why usually a lot of women, they want ease. They don't want to work hard for their guy, which is my next point, number 4. When it comes to us attractive men, a lot of women think that they're going to have to work incredibly hard just to keep us. And that's the bottom line. So, and for the record, I'm not going to say that all women are like that, but to my accounts, most women are just not going to be fond of the idea of committing to a really attractive guy. That's the thing. So, because a lot of times, bro, attractive men are very, very selective with who they like. Okay, and women, don't want to work for an attractive guy. Why? Because they have all these simps. They have all these easy options, bro. Women usually, I feel like, especially when they're committing to men, I feel like they want to, go for the low-hanging fruit. They don't want to, go for the high-value man long term. I mean, a lot of women, say they want a high-value man. They idolize all of them. But when it comes to, settling the deal and, being in a quality relationship, they don't want to commit to that guy. Why? Well, that's female nature. She wants stability. She wants someone who's going to care for her. Someone who's actually going to put in a little bit of effort, which is something that my friend told me about, because I was dating a girl a couple months ago. And, several months ago, I was talking to her, and, she was a good girl. She was kind of mid. She wasn't really that attractive. She was maybe a 6 or a 7 at best. And the thing is, guys, at some point, she kind of ghosted me, and that was pretty much it. I just moved on. And he said something that really stuck with me. He was like, Martin, the reason why she did that was because she knew that she could not keep you around. And occasionally, bro, I just accidentally, I just stumbled upon her Instagram a couple days ago. And it turns out that she's with some average looking guy now who's bro, I was like, damn, she degraded, her standards. And I was like, okay, whatever, I wish her luck, she's a good girl. Anyway, and my homie said, Martin, this guy looks like he actually has to put in some effort to keep her. And I was like, bingo, bro. You just hit the nail on the head with this one. And that's my point. A lot of women want a guy who's actually going to show her a little bit more effort, which usually, guys, with attractive men, we know, a lot of women know, bro, that with attractive men, we have that attention for free. We don't have to work for it. Why? Because we're physically appealing. We look good. We stand tall. Maybe we have a good body, right? And women know that we have that abundance of attention from women. So they're less likely to work for it. And so women know that if they're going to be with us, they're going to have to up their game. They're going to constantly adjust her her clothes, her look. She has to be on her game. She can't have an attitude, bro. She has to be, she can't be combative. She can't be aggressive. She can't, string us along, because if we catch her doing this, we're just gonna move on, bro. We're not gonna tolerate her BS, because a lot of attractive men usually have standards. They're not gonna, accept some bimbo behavior. Screw that shit, man. Okay, so that's a real thing. They just don't want to work that hard for us. So this is a real thing. You're not no one's gonna tell you this, but this is a real thing. I just dropped the asteroid here. Okay, so last but not least, number 5, gentlemen. Attractive men rarely make the first move. Most of the really attractive guys I know, they're not socially calibrated. They have no social skills, most of them. They're usually kind of shy. They're kind of introverted. They're not really that open, bro. They're usually a lot more reserved. Their guard is up. And, I think most of them, especially if they're naturally good looking, if they were born really good looking, they never really had to be in these situations where they actually have to develop these kind of skills. Okay? Which, someone like me, for instance, when I was growing up, I was kind of attractive, but I was not really a good looking man or a good looking guy. I had to work for it. I had to go through a little glow up phase, right? I had to transform my body, my look, and everything. And this took a long time. But if you're a naturally born good looking guy, I think most of them never really had to develop the skills. It was never a necessity for them, because they could, I think that most men, most of the good looking guys I know, they're always going for the low hanging fruit. The girl who's going to give them, the least amount of resistance. She's kind of easy. And that's usually how it goes with most guys. And so, unless you're an attractive guy and you have standards and you're actually socially open, you're talkative, you're skilled, you're not living in your head, then you're not going to attract the top baddies. I'm telling you. And so a lot of women, bro, a lot of women, they know that, especially, again, all these points circle back to what I just told you. Like, a lot of women are going to have all kinds of assumptions about you. And so they're never going to pull the trigger. Very few of them will. Like, I've had some women who approach me in real life. Usually it's older women, you know, which is kind of funny. But, like, out of all the girls that approach me, bro, you know, nothing really came out of it. I'm telling you. Usually the women that will make the first move on you, the women who will actually pull the trigger and shoot their shot, they're not quality material. Like, you want to, sure, sometimes you want to get freaky and you want to hump something, but it's usually very shallow. It's usually very, it's usually very vain, in my opinion. Like, it's not, like, that kind of connection has no depth, in my opinion. So, that's a real thing. So, usually the very attractive men, they're not really forced into these situations where they have to work and become more socially open and work on their game to talk to women. Usually they usually go for, you know, the easy fish, bro. So that's the reason why. Okay? So, guys, what's the implication here? Be a guy who has a lot of skills, bro. Don't be a man who gets jaded just because you're dealing with some low quality women who are always testing you. That's just human nature, bro. Because you're a high value man. Okay, let me put that back. Just because you're attractive, you're not a high value man. But you can definitely become one. Okay? But a lot of these women, they're going to be reserved. They're not going to, like, they're going to have their guard up. They're going to think that you're a cheater, that you're a liar, and that you're this and that. And they're going to invent all these stories about you. Even though you can be completely different, bro. You can be the nicest, kindest, and the most caring, giving guy. But she's not going to look at it. She's not going to know about it. Unless you actually make it known to these girls. Which is something that I found works very well in my favor. You know, when you talk to these girls, make it known, bro. Really show these girls that you actually like them. And if you do, bro, they're going to like you forever. I'm telling you. So, guys, I'm freezing here. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out my Instagram account, and I'm going to wrap it up here. Guys, see ya.